When we talk about our heritage as people from the Indian subcontinent, many things come to our mind. We think about our food, biryani. We think about our clothing. We think about our weddings, our language. We think about many things. What about individuals? Individuals who changed the world only with their words, only with their pen, only with their ink and ideas. But their ideas were so powerful that they changed entire countries, entire centuries, just by stating their ideas. What about people like this? What about people who saw a dream and fulfilled it, became the reason for that dream to become real, to come into existence? What about people who had a desire, and that desire did not stay as a thought or an idea that passed by and they forgot? No, they lived out that desire, and they became the change they wanted to see, or they played a big role in bringing that change, or they played a big role in bringing that change. What about these kinds of people? Now, growing up in the West, many people from the Indian subcontinent, they're familiar with the names Plato and Socrates. They know about Newton, they know about Shakespeare, but they're unfamiliar with their own people. And for many Pakistanis, Iqbal is just a household name. They just know him to be a poet who contributed a bit to our independence and to the idea of Pakistan. And perhaps if they know a little bit more, they know him as the man who saw the dream of Pakistan. But they don't know much about him. They don't know much about his philosophy, or they've never read his poetry even. They just know that, along with Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Iqbal's picture is beside him, and he played a big role. To the failure of our own diaspora communities living away from Pakistan and India, our people like the generation growing up here, they don't really understand the extent, the height of Iqbal and how much he's respected across the world, or how big his ideas truly were. They just know him to be a poet. They don't know that his poetry is there where Shakespeare was born. There was a competition where people had to write like poetry about Shakespeare, and Allama Iqbal, he partook in that competition, and his poetry is there. If you go visit the place where Shakespeare is born, his poetry is there. If you go visit the Nectar River in Germany, you'll find his poetry also there. He's respected across the world. His title is in fact Sir Allama Iqbal, because he was given knighthood by the Queen of Britain. He's respected everywhere. His poetry was chanted and put in the walls of Iran during the Islamic Revolution. Not saying we support that, but this is just to show the extent of his influence. And most likely you guys would be amazed, shocked to find out that Iqbal, he wrote about children being born without any parents. Like back 100 years ago, he's writing about this in his poetry. He's writing that a time will come where feminism will reach such a point that they will demand that we don't need men anymore. We can live ourselves just women in society. We don't need men for anything. You see like the very extreme ones among them saying things like that. Not all, but the very extreme ones. And he's saying these things like 100 years ago. He's predicting these things, right? And he's saying things like that. Oftentimes you would find that Iqbal, he talks about certain scientists, right? And he's saying, go read their books. And he's saying this before they become popular. He's talking about Einstein and all these big scientists we hear about. He's saying go read their books before they even become popular. So this is how big-minded he was. Not just in the realm of science, in the realm of politics and everything. He was very big. And particularly, we don't know even about his philosophy. His poetry is beautiful. This is why he's appreciated. But his poetry is not like Ghalib's poetry. Ghalib, he was a big Urdu poet. Maybe even more famous than Iqbal, maybe not. He's one of the best, if not considered the best Urdu poet. But his poetry and Iqbal's poetry is different, because Iqbal's poetry is not just poetry where it's like just eloquent and you're listening to it like wow, amazing. His poetry is like that it's good in the sense that when you listen to it, you're like, even if you don't understand it, you're just like wow, it's amazing, sounds good. Even if you don't understand it, you're just like wow. But it's the philosophical depth of it that makes it even more beautiful, because it's purposeful, that he's transmitting his ideas through his poetry, like, and they're deep, very deep ideas, like his philosophy of khudi. And what's saddening is that many people, Pakistanis, Indians abroad, they don't even know. They've never heard of Iqbal's philosophy of khudi ever before. And such a very big, powerful philosophy. It changes people. It inspires people. It's a very inspiring philosophy. I want to talk about it, inshallah, in this channel if I get the chance. But you've never, and this is only one of his philosophies. This is just like the most famous of his philosophies. You'll be blown away. Many times I read works like Al-Muqaddama. I read a bit of Al-Muqaddama and then I instantly remember Iqbal's poetry. I'm like, like most probably Iqbal, he read this book, Al-Muqaddama, and he probably got this from here, and I'd just be amazed. Sometimes I'd like read something from Iqbal's poetry, right? And Iqbal wasn't a scholar, he wasn't a sheikh. Then I'll see a sheikh from the Arab world, from the Arab Peninsula, and his poetry has also been translated into Arabic. But I'll see some sheikh from the Arab Peninsula, completely different, probably has never read Iqbal's poetry ever. He's making the exact same point that Iqbal used 100 years ago. And I'm like, wow, amazing. And honestly, I feel like to understand this is just my personal opinion, to understand a lot of Iqbal's poetry, you need to understand it through the Quran. Sometimes you read the Quran and I remember Iqbal's poetry. And I see how connected his ideas are because he took a lot of it from Quran. Even his philosophy of khudi, he took it from the Quran. So I become shocked. I'm amazed. Like, what is this person? Because Iqbal is not a person, he's an entire world. I get amazed. Like the same thing these scholars are saying, and that's found here in the Quran. It's like Iqbal has also said it. Iqbal obviously took it from the Quran and Al-Muqaddama, but when you find like modern learned scholars from the Arab Peninsula, like from Hijaz, from the Haram and Medina, like using the same points Iqbal is using, like honestly amazes me. How deep was this person, right? And you find it, like you read Iqbal and then you start seeing him everywhere, like in this sphere, culturally, everywhere. You see like this guy has so much depth. How deep, what kind of person was he? Like that he had such depth of thinking and such future foresight of vision. You'll be amazed, and you'll come to the same conclusion as me, that this is not a person, this is an entire world. Iqbal is not one person, he's an entire world. So what do I have to say? I'm gonna say that look into this man, Iqbal. Who is Iqbal? I'm going to upload videos about him on my channel. I want to tell and share to the English-speaking world, who is Iqbal? It's very unfortunate that like we have kept this guy stuck, his ideas stuck in Pakistan, India, and we have not been able to share his ideas and ideals in poetry with the entire world the same ways the Greeks and the other nations have been able to share their own ideas and philosophers across the own world. Everyone knows about Socrates and Plato, but who knows about Iqbal? Well, Iqbal is as good, his philosophy is as amazing. This is a gift we can share to the world, and we're hiding it from them. I want to share Iqbal's ideals to the English-speaking world. And if you're interested, stay tuned. Press the subscribe button. Stay tuned, because we're going to be talking about Iqbal's life. We're going to be talking about his philosophy. We're going to be talking about many of his ideas.